Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, July 19th, 7 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. Well, the main cinder cone at the Reykjanes Peninsula collapsed last night in spectacular fashion, and you're looking at it. We will have the full high-definition footage in just a moment. The big story, severe weather from Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic brings tornado and flash flooding risks. Keep calm. It's boom time. North Carolina Pfizer factory heavily damaged by tornado. Take a look at this.
This is what a tornado did to a major pharmaceuticals facility northeast of Raleigh, North Carolina. The Pfizer factory is one of the largest employers in Nash County, where it's located. The company said they hadn't heard of any major injuries. However, the local sheriff said that there are reports that as many as 50,000 pallets of medicine may have been destroyed. A preliminary survey by the National Weather Service showed at least EF2 damage, which is consistent with a tornado with winds up to 135 miles per hour. The twister tore a path across fields and knocked out trees and...
Now, thank goodness it was Pfizer and no other multinational corporation, and they said medicine. Anyway, that's negotiable. But at least 2 people were actually injured. EF2 was confirmed. As many as 50,000 pallets of quote-unquote medicine may have been damaged at the Pfizer factory, and a portion of Interstate 95 was shut down. Flash flooding. Large hail possible in the Denver area Thursday. Storm brings sizable hail and much-needed rain to Minnesota. Say it ain't soda, but Wisconsin as well. Meteorologist Ben Derry said this type of storm is capable of producing wind speeds up to 75 miles per hour. And next weather alert for severe weather risk in southeast Michigan on Thursday. We're going to have the full forecast in a minute, but large hail pounded a Missouri city, and it was gigantic. I hope they had their helmets on.
Some incredibly large hail was reported in Garden City, Missouri Monday night.
Holy
5
macaroni.
inches, which is bigger than a grapefruit. Now, we want to show you the radar recap as the storms move through. We should also note that there were several reports of smaller hail, ping-pong to softball-sized hail. We say smaller in quotations. But wow, let's go back to those pictures because everything's going to need to be officially verified. But this could wind up being the largest hail recorded in Missouri in over a decade. And hail of this size, thankfully, is not the norm, but it is notable because in order to support hail that big, the thunderstorm would have to have really strong updraft speeds. And of course, what goes up must come down. The National Severe Storms Laboratory says it's possible for very large hailstones to fall at speeds over 100 miles per hour. So imagine something bigger than a grapefruit falling at that speed.
Yeah, that is boom time. Now, the good news is that they have no idea what they're talking about. These types of events are forced by cosmic rays. It aligns with the solar cycle, and we are in some of the highest cosmic rays in recorded human history. And as the magnetosphere weakens, we get a bigger, broader meridional flow where the jet stream gets extremely wavy, and that allows for these hailstones to recycle and become, well, literally gigantic.
City, Missouri, Monday night.
Let's take a look.
5 inches, which is
Wow.
bigger than a grapefruit.
There it is, bigger than a frickin' grapefruit. I said it. Severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. for most of northern and central Minnesota. So heads up, severe storms may produce more large hail and damaging winds. Here's the full forecast. Tropical storm Calvin is impacting Hawaii and has now moved past the Big Island. The Mid-South flash flood warning. Intense heat continues. Tropical storm Calvin will bring heavy to excessive rain, life-threatening surf in exposed areas, and strong winds. So heads up as the storm moves away from the Big Island. Abundant heat, moisture, and instability is producing life-threatening flash flooding in western Kentucky and southern Illinois. Severe storms are possible in the Midwest and upper Midwest, so stay tuned for more boom. Dangerous heat stretches across the Southwest and the South, but it's breaking because we had some cool temperatures just in the upper 80s today. Well, it's actually still 89, but there is the position of post-tropical cyclone Calvin, as it's moving away from the Big Island and Hawaii in general. The current movement is, well, is it here? Yeah, west at 20 miles per hour. Current sustained winds just at 40 miles per hour, and it is now hundreds of miles away. Hey, hey. Magnitude 6.5 quake felt in Central America. No damage reported. It was at quite a depth. Let's take a look at that. If we can click on it. There it is. 6.5, 43 kilometers south of Imputal, El Salvador. At 70 kilometers at depth. That is basically nothing. Moderate earthquakes worldwide. Let's take a look over here at Worldwide Volcano News Update, and let's refresh it to get the freshest update. My own volcano, Sabancaya, to 22,000 feet. We also have Santo Huito, Fuego, Popo, Marapi, and the Requianas Peninsula to update you on. Santo Huito to 14,000 feet. Ubainas to 20,000. Popo to 20,000. Mayon to just 9,000. Fuego to 16. Nevado de Ruiz, there's no data there. And the Requianas volcano update, new lava flow map. Oh, hello. We did publish this over at our tweet box, where you can see the new lava flow has now overtaken the 2022 lava flow, and they're now overlapping. But the big news is that breakout last night was spectacular. Let's watch it in its entirety. So here we are live at the volcano now to compare and contrast what has been going on. The lava tube, the main lava tube for the last 8 days here to the east has been shut off. Explosions and eruptive lava has now sealed off that fissure, and everything is now moving to the west. And it was once two lava flows, but they have become centered on the southwestern lava flow, which is now flooding out across the plain in multiple directions. Absolutely spectacular for videographers, very dangerous to humans. And I don't think that they may open this up anytime soon to tourists, so you have to pay big money to get on a helicopter to come out here. But that is what's developing here at the volcano. Beautiful shots coming from Afar TV. Give them a thumbs up and subscribe over at the channel. Space weather news update. We are expecting a glancing blow predicted from a minor G1 geomagnetic storm watch. Let's come take a quick look over here at telemetry and refresh it. You're looking at Discover Solar Wind. Nothing happening. Plasma speed dumping off here to 400 kilometers per second. Everything is stable, so we have not entered any uptick. But according to ISWA, we should be hitting something tomorrow from the 20th into the 21st. So stay tuned for updates tomorrow for low-level geomagnetic storms. The 3-day forecast is predicting G5 for about 6 hours, maybe 12 hours tomorrow. So that means tomorrow night, look up for Aurora. Now, if you're looking for the kill shot, the one that's going to take out the grid or maybe the internet, something temporary, and you're prepping for it, what we're looking at is solar cycle 10. This is the time frame when the Carrington event happened, September 1st and 2nd of 1859, which corresponds to the peak of a very weak single-peaked solar cycle that peaked very early in the 10-year cycle or the 11-year cycle here. This is actually about a 10-and-a-half-year cycle, being a weak cycle, and that's what I think solar cycle 25 may look like. A single major peak in the beginning and a drop down. And in fact, the Carrington event happened at the peak of the solar cycle. That means in the next 3 to 9 months, we could be looking at a Carrington-like event coming from the sun in this solar cycle. Just a heads up, as SpaceX tests Starship water deluge system that should have been built in the first place. Resembling a giant bidet for rockets, the deluge system is meant to minimize damage at the pad when the Starship takes flight. If you saw some of the earlier pictures, it literally destroyed the surface like an impact from a meteor because of the heat. But this is meant to quench that heat and maybe preserve some of the superstructure. Underground climate change is helping sink the land beneath us. According to a new study, in some locations, excessive urban heat is causing deformations in the land and destabilizing buildings. Here's the paper, The Silent Impact of Underground Climate Change on Civil Infrastructure. Published just a week ago. We will leave you links below. But according to the abstract, urban areas are increasingly suffering from subsurface heat islands. No, this isn't man-made global warming. It's because of the building of massive infrastructures and the fact that the sun hits them and sucks up the heat. So if you're interested in topics like this, please check out all the links below. Medicine is plagued by untrustworthy clinical trials. Have you heard some of these claims over the last few years? How many studies are faked or flawed? And how many people have been killed because of it? Well, investigations suggest that in some fields, at least 25% of the clinical trials might be problematic or even entirely made up. And this is bad news, especially when it comes to quote-unquote life-saving protocols, which may actually be detrimental to your health. And this comes at the same time when the president of Stanford has been ousted.
But first, breaking news on Stanford's campus. The president of Stanford University is stepping down next month after concerns about how he conducted research. Mark Tessier-Lavigne cited an independent review of his research in a statement. It looked at 12 papers he worked on and found no research misconduct. But it did find flaws in papers authored by his lab. He said in his statement, quote, "Stanford is greater than any one of us. It needs a president whose leadership is not hampered by such discussions. I therefore concluded that I should step down before the start of classes." He will, however, stay on as faculty as a biology professor.
Yeah, good riddance. Now, breaking news on the scientific fronts. This is right after we did a full expose over at Magnetic Reversal News on Toba, the Toba eruption. Marine records now reveal, this paper coming out yesterday, multiple phases of Toba's last volcanic activity, which is exactly what I suggested, confirmed now by a peer-reviewed paper in Scientific Reports. So go please check out the paper and check out the video on Magnetic Reversal News, where I was running solo 3 days ago without Leah, but she'll return this weekend on Saturday for a new discussion, which we will reveal tomorrow. Harvard and MIT scientists claim a new chemical cocktail can reverse aging. Did you hear that? Until recently, the best we could do was slow aging, even bring it to a standstill. But new discoveries suggest we can now reverse it. And in just a decade, we will literally be able to become immortal if you have enough coin. But in the meantime, I'm using the natural approach. And I'm talking about chicory. It's blooming everywhere. It has an amazing bluish purple flower. It can be used as a coffee substitute, a life-saving plant, and is used in international cuisine on the regs. If you want to know more about common chicory, Chicoreum in Tibus, I'm going to do a full expose tomorrow morning on the channel. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I hope you got something out of the video. Please share this video as we are shadow banned, because the powers that be don't want this information to get out there. It's too practical. It's too pertinent. And it's, well, it's the actual facts. Become a Patreon, support the work we do. Watch all of our productions commercial free in one place. Be safe. We love you. That's a boom.